Uh, yeah, it's kind of weird out here today. It's been, oh God, it was so foggy. It was like I was in the John Carpenter movie back in the, way back in the day. What I'm dying laughing is, it's like the total lack of accuracy out there. People will do just about anything to get, viewers in to watch their stuff. And I saw a thumbnail for a video, post-apocalyptic thrillers or post-nuclear thrillers, I think it was, or something like that, that very few have seen. And it's like, and right there on the on the thumbprint, or on the thumbnail, I mean, for the video, is a picture of Adrienne Barbeau as Maggie from Escape from New York. There was no post-nuclear thing in Escape from New York. Escape from New York, there was no nuclear apocalypse or anything that led to what happens in the movie. See, they're just using, like a lot of people did back in the day, Adrienne Barbeau's assets, to get some viewers in. And trust me, you gotta admire it, because when you see Adrienne Barbeau back then and all that, it's like, that's back when women didn't have to be size, single digit to be, attractive. Like I had somebody, I remember, a while back, she's going on and on about how she, I'm so fat. This girl was like a twig, literally. And I'm like, well, what's the matter? My boyfriend doesn't think I'm sexy. And I'm like, and when did blindness strike him? And she's like, oh, no, no. Blah, blah. I'm like, listen to me. Come here. Marilyn Monroe was a size 13 most of her life. Tell me she wasn't sexy and still isn't listed as one of the great icons, to this day, of being, a sexual icon. You Gotcha. All right. All right. Apparently, some people were claiming the rapture was going to happen, and it didn't. The rapture was this thing, apparently, where, it's the end of days. Kirk Cameron or whatever made all these stupid ass movies about this because he went Christian and drove everybody on the set of his shows insane about it. And it's not that I have anything against Christianity. It's just when it got to the point he was preaching it on everybody, they were going nuts. I can't remember which TV show it was on. He was on way back. Was it like Growing Pains or some shit like that? You know, and here's a guy, like I said, he just went nuts on the Christianity thing. Me, I have nothing against you. If you want to worship, an instrument of torture that killed how many people back in the Roman times, well, actually, it's the person who was put on it, actually. I don't want to sound mean and evil. It's just, it always puzzled me why, the cross became a big thing. They said, well, Jesus died on the cross. And I said, well, so did a lot of people. That's like, having a cult for JFK and there's a pair of cross, the poor guy comes back to Earth and there's crossed rifles everywhere. But that's just me, Whatever gives you faith and keeps you moving, I'm not going to belittle it, okay? Especially in this mad, mad world we live in. Just, I'm not a big purveyor or follower of the visible men in the sky. It's not my deal. It's not what I do. I believe in the universe itself as being, way beyond too complex for even us simians to figure out. And even if there was a supreme being, we wouldn't even be able to fathom a supreme being, let alone, write down anything. It's just me. Trust me, I've gotten into it on people before. I usually keep them to myself until someone goes, well, this said this. I go, yeah, but you have to remember, how many times has that particular book been edited, re-edited, entire segments torn out, and, disposed of? That little party they called the Council in Nicaea? Not to mention translated, retranslated, retranslated, retranslated. Oh, but that's me. So, like I said before, whatever keeps you going in this mad, mad world we live in, more power to you. But meanwhile, like I said, it's just a crazy world we live in now where the people who are saying we shouldn't be allowed to have guns are now using guns. Oh, and then they wonder why everybody kept theirs. Oh, man. Woo, there's a nice good rain coming down now. Hopefully that'll break up the fog a little. Glad I got my umbrella. I don't want the people on Baldus to drown. Then, of course, I've been getting into it again with the climate change people. It's like, guys, you're talking to a dude when he was a kid. The top scientists on the planet said we were heading for another ice age. That, by the time I'm living now, it's going to be a nice warm summer day would be me standing out in the yard ass deep in snow in the middle of, Florida. Ugh. But of course it is fall, and the weather, I like it. I kind of like a little rainy day every now and then, because all sunshine makes a desert, as the Arabs say. Oh, but I know some people still tune on here thinking I've got some magical hat trick up my sleeve that I'm going to know something that no one else does. And I'm like, guys, I know about as much as you do as far as Doctor Who goes right now. And oh, by the way, we're watching the newer version of Quantum Leap. We just finished season 1. We're into season 2 now. And it's kind of a shame that that did get canceled, because it has been pretty good so far. I love all the references back to the original, and the characters are pretty well developed, so I can't complain. I know, I miss Doctor Who news as well. I wish I had some top secret info to tell you. I've heard several reports that we might be getting some news soon, but like I said, other than that, nothing more than just vague implications. It's somebody's a George Carlin fan. There we go. I worship the sun, but I pray to Joe Pesci. Yeah, that was a classic George Carlin one. Yeah, religion is bullshit. But like I said, it's just, religion was never my thing after about, oh God, it's been decades. I have lost track of that Walking Dead, with Daryl Dixon. We watched up to the end of season 1, and I haven't picked up season 2 yet. May have to soon. I heard it got pretty good. But like I said, one of the most disappointing things about the wrap up of the Walking Dead, show that they did with their new series. I like that. Look, there's helicopters coming. Look, there's the helicopter with Rick and Michonne. Who shows up out of the whole colony of people in the area for a working helicopter? It just happens to be Rick's kids. In other words, they cheaped out on the budget at the end. Welcome to Derry. Yeah, that's one I'm kind of looking forward to, but at the same time, there's other series like Castle Rock that just completely dropped the ball. There's a lot of people, of course, throwing hissy fits because of stuff Stephen King said. I said, look, I disagree with a lot of things Stephen King says. He's still living in that dream world where Oswald shot Kennedy. It's like, that's why after I read the book 11/22/63, I was like, I never watched the show, because I'm like, you're holding up this delusion that a guy who couldn't even hit a target last time he was out on the range, and then qualified for marksman by 2 points, picked up a rifle with a wobbly telescope and hit a moving target at how many hundred yards to a Texas live oak. It's like, if you want to keep believing it, fine on you, but I do not. Especially when, nobody jumps to the back and to the left when they're hit from the right behind. Ugh. That was another one that still pisses me off to this day. Shit's up when the laws of Newtonian physics go out the window and someone catches it on camera. And then you got a guy who probably never fired a gun, who was no way near being a ballistics expert. Arlen Specter comes up with the magic bullet theory, and everybody, puts that into effect like it's gospel. I'm like, ugh. I have no idea what's going on with Matlock. I think Lady G watched it. She enjoyed it, as far as I know. Kathy Bates, I think, is an amazing actor. I've loved her in just about everything she's done. So, but it wasn't for me. I'm sorry. I'm hardcore Andy Griffith and all that. And plus, it's not my bag anymore. So Google it and find out what happened to Matlock. What happened to Obama? He's still out there playing political games behind the scenes, like a lot of people do. Like a lot of people, if I remember correctly, and this is allegedly, that Obama and Al Gore were both set up to make, I can't remember how many billions of dollars if that whole of that carbon tax credit shit had passed. Which is why that's when I really began to get dubious of the climate change theory. And sadly, I got to agree with the orange-haired man. It was a con. This planet has been, as George Carlin said, through a lot worse than us. And for a lot longer periods of time. If the weather's shifting, I got some bad news. The weather was probably always going to shift, whether what you did or not. And even then, even if we got rid of everything tomorrow, let's say we went to all solar, all wind, or we did find a source of renewable energy, the weather is going to be just as damn unpredictable as it's always been. The one that had me laughing was this documentary where they're trying to say all the Neanderthals were wiped out by a volcano in some region. And I'm like, why don't these guys just come out and tell the truth? Homo sapiens probably killed everybody. Sadly, it's the one thing we're good at. Well, we do have our moments, but it's what keeps me going in the morning. He can legally keep sheep in Dublin. I like that one. Like I said, I'm not ashamed to admit I voted for Obama. The guy could actually tell, he was a damn good orator. He was a really good speech maker. I'll give him that. He was a good master of diction, unlike a lot of other presidents we've had. And other attempted presidents we've had. I'm still wondering who the hell voted for AOC, but it's there's a woman that mystifies me. And not in a good way. Like I said, I don't tend not to get political. It's just all this crap going on out there. And like I said, I know a lot of people didn't like Charlie Kirk, but he did say one thing that does make sense. It's when people stop talking is when the bad things start happening. When countries stop talking, that's how wars begin. When different states stop talking, that's how civil wars begin. And that guy did nothing to justify what happened to him. Like I said, some people seem to think that it's cool if someone who speaks a different opinion you knew is taken out. And it's like right there, you better start questioning, where is your humanity? Today's t-shirt's one I bought a long time ago. Someone made this for NCIS. It says, "Don't make me Gibbs snap you." And it's a picture of him cracking, what do you call it? Denozo across the back of the head like he used to back in the day. See, I don't know if you can make any of that. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. I've had this shirt for a long time. And the scary part is, for, a not exactly authorized t-shirt, it's held out quite a few years. I got to give the people who made this one a lot of credit. It hasn't cracked or anything like that. Well, I just looked at the time. I am going on about a minute over, so I got to get my ass inside. Remember, above all everything above all else, today. Be kind, be calm, be safe, but please be kind more than anything. Okay? Take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you again, hopefully, tomorrow morning. Have a good Thursday, everybody.